I really loved how at the end you had Zoro and Ohm and Wyper and Ganfal all just about to throw down, and oh man. One Piece chapter 267, March! Man, you know, I tell you, it is so much work trying to get these done and get them edited and get them out, but it is just so fun and so magical and so rewarding that it makes it all worth it in the end, you know? Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the ball-tingling, hernia-inducing, just overly exciting tale of One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, saw us with a number of different things happening as we kind of dangled several different threads over there, and really that's kind of how this one goes too. It is pretty cool because it's showing what's happening to everybody as they're going to go and kind of come and, I'm assuming, converge together somewhere up here, you know, by the God's Temple, obviously, you know, or by Enel's Temple. So the chapter starts out, and it's the Going Merry. And we see that they're you know, cruising along on the river over there, and Aisa is trying to get away. She's a warrior. She wants to go save everybody, and Nami is trying to stop her. And it's this banter that goes back and forth between them, because as you know, Nami can go in pretty much any of the Straw Hat crew. She just, you know, knocks their heads together, tells them what's what, and it's like they're almost like afraid of her, and they're, oh, okay, even though they're not. And this Aisa, she doesn't buy into that shit, and she's like, I'm a warrior, and she's like, whatever, kid. And she's like, no, I'm a warrior. She's like, fine, warrior. And she's like, don't give me that look. It doesn't scare me. So anyway, as they're arguing, you wind up seeing this cool giant, you know, giant snake or whatever. And I'm not sure if it's the same anaconda that we saw earlier that was chasing Luffy and Robin and all them through the forest, and Zoro and Chopper. But I'm assuming that it is. So anyway, you see this huge thing kind of just looming in the background over, you know, over the ship, over the Going Merry. And as they're arguing about things, then it goes and it cuts to Luffy in his area, in his cave or whatever. And I'm surprised that I didn't put two and two together quicker, you know, more quickly with this, but, you know, Luffy is inside of the snake, and that's the only explanation for it, because obviously a couple of chapters ago when he kicked back against the dead-end wall, and then there was like got shook up, there's a big earthquake, you see him in there, and he's like, oh, I tried doing this, and then all of a sudden I was in one of the clouds, and blah, 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 and then you can kind of see it looks a little mucky in there and everything, and this cave is actually the belly of the beast. He's actually inside the snake, at least from what I can gather. So it's kind of funny because it goes back and forth between him being inside there and then him just going, let me out of here, and just, you know, hitting the walls, which is obviously the innards of the snake, and then seeing the snake just kind of, and then going and seeing it from the perspective of the Going Merry, and the snake just starts going batshit crazy, and of course Nami's like, what the hell is this all about? So it's kind of cool. It again shows back and forth with them a little bit. Nami winds up going and turning, when this all happens, the snake, you know, she winds up diverting off into the forest, and because you see Conis and Pagaya on their ship, and they're like, oh no, she's going into the forest, and she obviously got taken off of her path, and is now heading towards, you know, more imminent danger. And then you go and you see one of the Shandians, and he's fighting one of the heavenly warriors, and they're fighting and going at it tooth and nail, you know, and they're just kind of like these nameless guys, you know, and the fodder, I guess you would say. And one of them thinks that he hears, you know, Aisa's scream or yell, and then of course it really just serves as a set piece for them to all of a sudden be like, holy shit, because then all of a sudden this huge snake, this anaconda, and they actually they refer to it as, what do they call it? They think they call it the Sky God, Sky something over here. I apologize. I had the page on, but then there was another better page that I wanted to have. And it's kind of cool how one thing leads into the next over here. Here, Ruler of the Sky is what they call it. So, and you see this thing, and it's just, you know, obviously because of Luffy being inside, he has upset its stomach, and this thing is just going crazy. So as it's going on this warpath and just trampling through the forest, certainly it's, you know, leaving a lot of destruction in its wake. We then go and we see, and this is kind of cool. This is what I like. I don't mind when there's a bunch of different diverging paths, as long as there's a point where it starts to come back together, and I feel like that's this chapter. So then we go and it leads right into showing Zoro being taken, you know, by the South Bird, you know, and he's just flying with him, Joe, you know, and Zoro's still like, let me down, damn it, I'm gonna have to cut you, and this and that, you know. And it's cool because as he's going and flying along, all of a sudden that giant serpent just comes up and goes and just almost goes to get at him, and he's like, no, fly higher, And he's like, what the hell is going on? That serpent's going to try to eat us. So he's telling the thing to put him down, and then the bird all of a sudden goes and just like tosses him or lets him go, and he's like, oh, why you? And I could just picture from watching the anime now just Zoro being like, damn it, bird, And so so then it's kind of cool because it goes and it takes us to and it shows us the actual magical beanstalk thing from the ruins of Shandor that goes up into that upper part where we assume that the temple is, and to where Chopper is and Ohm, and we wind up seeing Wyper, and he's kind of bouncing and jumping and running up this thing, and he's like, I gotta get to the top and this and that. So then he goes and he gets to the top, and as he gets to the top, he's attacked, and we wind up seeing obviously that it's Ohm up there, that is the Iron Challenge guy, the other priest that is attacking him. And as we see them, and he's talking about, and Ohm's like, oh yeah, talking about the God's Temple and everything else, because he's been up there, he's like, how'd you get up here? And then Ganfal goes and appears, right? And I know this is a little bit much to wrap your mind around because there's a lot happening, but then Ganfal goes and he appears and is standing over there, and he's got Pierre, of course, brought him down. He's like, and he tells Wyper, and Wyper, of course, immediately just being the dick that he is, he's like, oh, what are you here? You're here to try to reclaim your position as God? And he's like, listen, I have no regrets about what I've done, but, and he basically just tells him, like, you just shut up for a second, kid. And he winds up saying, listen, I was just up there, and I mean, everything, it's a disaster. It's disheartening. Everything is in ruins. Of course, Enel is not there, but whatever it is that he wanted with this area and whatnot, he's done, and he's just kind of letting everybody know that he's done because everything is destroyed and ruined, and you just see like everything just burned and like body laying there and everything just looking like it was just completely destroyed, and just taken out, completely wiped out, maybe to leave no trace. Maybe he figured if I'm not using it anymore, nobody can. I don't know what his whole end game is, but what a prick. Anyways, so then we go, and as these three are going and talking over there, all of a sudden come flying out of the sky, Zoro comes in, right? Because the South Bird went and dropped him off there. He was tired of Zoro going the wrong way and was just like, listen, dude, I know where you're going. I'm going to take you there. I'm the South Bird. You need to go south. I know how to go south, right? So he dropped his ass off there. So Zoro goes and he's, he lands and everything like that. And then you go and you see Ganfal, of course. He's like, oh, and Wyper's like, oh, yeah, one of the Straw Hats, And so it's kind of cool because you see these four heavyweights that are about to just go at it. And as they're about to go at it, you see another quick flash of Luffy, and we assume he's, of course, inside the snake. We at least I think he is. And the giant snake, the god of the sky, or the serpent of the sky, he starts slithering up and going up the beanstalk. And then, of course, at the top of the beanstalk, or close to the top, there's that cloud, and there's the part of the ruins of Shandor on there. And he just comes bursting out through. And it's kind of cool because it's like the last page, or the second to last page. There's this nice page right here that I like where everybody is just standing there looking all just awesome and about ready to go and fight, and you got Zoro, he's like, well, you look vicious, and he's like, surrender the gold, and then he's like, oh, this is so bad. And he's just like, no one can escape my iron challenge. And then you've got the, if you insist on getting in my way, I'll wipe out all of you. Wipe out. That was so ingenious. But not really. And then you get the, where is Enel? Tell me where the god's forces are, from Ganfal. And then you get Luffy just like, what's with this cave? And then you see the snake, and the snake's probably just thinking, get out of me, So you see him come crashing up through there, which I thought was kind of neat. And then the chapter ends with this awesome double-page spread, and basically just like, well, it seems we all have our opinions, but if you wish to be heard, the first order of business is to survive. So there's obviously going to be some kind of huge battle between these four heavyweights, 5 once Luffy comes out of the snake, maybe 6 because the snake is probably going to be a formidable foe as well, 7 if you want to count Clifford the Big Red Dog's sister Holly, Ohm's dog. So it's definitely going to be cool. The shit's about to hit the fan. So anyway, that's of course where the chapter ends up. And my chapter question for you is, what are your thoughts on, I guess I would just say on the design at this point of parts of Upper Yard and Skypiea, and the parts that I'm referring to specifically are like the Jack and the Giant Beanstalk. I think they call it the Jack Stalk or the Giant Stalk or something like that. just the whole backdrop of it. You know, to me it's kind of cool. It kind of mixes some of those like childhood fairy tales in with some of that cool like runes of like an Indiana Jones, you know, type of thing, or maybe like for video games like Tomb Raider or Uncharted. And to me, I just kind of like the whole backdrop and how everything is put together so far. But I like the idea of, you know, there being upper yard, and then there being, of course, this area, this runes, and then a giant beanstalk growing out of that, and then a cloud above that with more of the city that's ruined up there, and then even above that, this god's temple. I think it's all very clever and very neatly done. So let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation. Check out my Instagram and Facebook pages for more pictures of Zoro looking like a badass.